Hello everyone, Brian at Sonora Fly Company. As most of you know, crawdads are always on our mind here in Sonora, and I thought today we would do a quick little tutorial on tying a crawdad pattern. This pattern is great to fish under an indicator. It's great to fish on a Euro nymphing rig. It's great to fish on sinking line and stripping. It works for bass, works for trout, works for pretty much everything. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to use a jig hook for this. It's going to be a Mustad. I'm sorry, a Daiichi 4660. This is a 90-degree bend. I'm going to use a 4.5 millimeter copper slotted tungsten bead. For thread, we're going to use 6/0 olive Veeves, and we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm going to wind this all the way back. To the bend, I'll come forward a little bit, some open wraps, come right back. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue right there. Just going to help keep things from twisting. First off, I'm going to use some ice dubbing, shrimp pink, UV shrimp pink. We're going to take a little pinch of that out. We'll kind of parse that and get it lined up and even. Pulling those fibers apart and restacking them together. That looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. We're going to just tie that in. Right on the back of the hook shank there. Perfect. Next, we're going to use some crystal flash in black. It's going to be part of the antenna. I'm going to use probably four strands of that. We can just tie those on as well. You can use 2 strands and double them back. I'm being pretty lazy right now. Clip that off, clip those. Pretty long actually, pretty long. A few inches long there. Next, for the rest of the antenna, we're going to use some Life Flex in black. And here I will take 1 strand. I'll wind this kind of back towards my tie-in point. I'll take 1 strand, I'll double it over the thread, and I'll place it right where I want it. And it's okay to build up a little bit of bulk on the back of this. It's going to taper down, and that's not going to be a bad thing at all. You're tying in a lot of materials on the back end of this fly. Once again, we're going to leave those pretty long. Okay, and for the claws, we're going to use some pine squirrel Zonker strips, olive. You can mix and match these colors any way you want. Orange, brown, olive, black, and red. Doesn't really matter. Tie a bunch of different colors. I'm just tying olive today. We'll clip those about 1.5 inches long. We're going to put 4 of these on the hook shank. So we'll peel off a little bit of the fur. We'll tie that in on one side. You can also use just rabbit Zonker strips here, but I like tying in 4 of these as opposed to 2 rabbit Zonkers. So we'll peel that off. We're going to do 2 more of those Zonker strips. And don't worry if they're not the same length. You can either cut them down. I like to just leave them kind of variant myself. I don't get too worried about that. Last one. Just make sure that when you put them in, you can see that the hair fibers are moving outward. Okay, once you got all 4 of those in, just taper it down. You can lay a base of thread down here, never hurts. Okay, and for the body material, I'm going to use 2 things. We're going to use Wapsi Mohair Leech yarn first. I'll tie in a little bit of that. Once I get that section in, I kind of like to come in here and parse that yarn out a little bit before we get going and wrapping that body. Okay, there's that. And the second thing we're going to use is medium UV polar chenille. And this is UV brown, copper, olive, all of it works. It's just a flashy underbody. I'm going to tie that in right in front of the mohair yarn. Line your thread forward. And I will grab these 2 and just start palmering them together all the way back. And I'm going to try to work my fibers out the whole way back here. We'll go ahead and tie that off. I'm going to clip out the polar chenille here. And just give it a couple more wraps with this mohair yarn. I'll take a little glue, put it on my thread. Quick whip finish. I'll take my brush and kind of brush all this out, and then I'll just do a little bit of trimming here. You want that body to be kind of long and wispy, but it'll kind of splay out a little bit better if it's a little bit shorter. right, there you have it. It's a great little crawdad pattern that'll destroy bass either being stripped or run under an indicator. Like I said, it's great on the East Walker, it's great on the middle fork of the Stanislaus. You can Euro Nymph this, you can drag it under an indicator in the deeper pools, but it's a great pattern to have in your arsenal, and you can do it in a lot of different colors. Hope this helped. We'll see you again on the next one.